Welcome back guys, Mel here from Mel's Motors. Behind me is a Harley Trike. Yes, another Trike. But this one's a Harley Davidson one. I haven't had one on my channel, so this is the first. It's got an issue with the drive wheel. I'll show you in a second. The drive wheel is rubbing against the chassis, so we need to find out what this problem is and see if we can alleviate this problem. Okay, so this is our drive wheel. You can just see the edges there, the drive belt there. Look down here. Yeah, so we have our drive belt here. It goes to a drive wheel. Very difficult to see, but I'm not sure if you can see the scoring in there. Just move the light to one side. You can see it's all scored up on the edge, so it's touching the chassis somewhere. I'm going to apologise for the noise now. This is an active workshop, so there will be a lot of background noise. From here, there's not much I can do. I've got on my bike ramp. I'll do some extra stands to raise the chassis off the ground. Some of the jobs that we do on the MOT ramp, but then we've got the wheels on the ramp, and then you can't jack it up, but you can see the centre. And then with the motorcycle ramp, you get the wheels off, but you can't see the centre. So the plan is to remove the entire back end here. And see if we can give ourselves some visual aid to see if we can do something with this issue. Ideal way to pick this up would be to have the body off, throw some straps around it, get the forklift on it and then lift it up, but there's no perfect way of lifting trikes, unfortunately. Right, this is from the other side. You can just about see the wheel there, but there's no issues on this side. It's the other side that's got the problem. Okay, so I've had a quick look around, see what we need to undo. I'm not going to take the arches off. I'm going to try and take the whole rear end off in one go. These Allen keys are probably going to be AF, so I'll have to dig my Allen keys out and AF socket set. In here, again, these are the bolts for the wheel arch. I'm not taking that off. I can just see some screw heads, some nuts and bolts here. I think that's part of this Allen keys here. So there's two there. Up here we can see where the body is bolted to the chassis there. So I'm just going to go into the boot. Right, it looks like they might be the bolts that we need to undo there. So that's two. So if I pull this panel off, there's one on the other side as well. These are just on poppers. Another Allen key screw here, so there's three there and two in the back, but I believe there's some more underneath. These ones here, there's one here, one at the back, so there's two on each side, so it's only about 5 or 6 screws a side, and then hopefully this will come off. well, made life a little bit easier for us. So now we can actually see right in this corner what it looks like it's touching. We had to undo all these cables. You couldn't see that, hence why we had 3 of us on this. Get those out of the way for the minute. Not quite sure how I'm going to repair this or what's actually causing the problem. This is bolted straight to this bracket. You can see the metal filings there as well. But it would appear that I need to space this over to the right slightly. A bit difficult to see, but right at the front where we've got the drive wheel, we've got quite a lot of space on the right hand side, probably about 15-20 mil. So even if this drive goes to the right slightly, we've still got plenty of room over there without it coming off the drive wheel. So the right side's a little bit easier to see. So we've got this spacer plate here, it protrudes out the other side just slightly. Now it looks like that these have shim plates on there, because this is a split between the inner plate and the outer plate, and I think this might be a shim plate. This drive is so stiff, it's so difficult to spin. I'm just wondering if it's been over tightened within this casing here. If I grab this disc, go backwards and forwards, listen to that backlash. I mean, absolutely nothing is moving. So as you can see, the drive shaft's at an angle, so the plan is now to undo these bottom bolts so that we've got free movement, straighten that shaft out, undo the hub nut to pull the drive shaft out, and then we're going to see if we can pop the drive shaft out, because it's hopefully just a clip holding it in there. Failing in that, if we can't get it out, there's a good chance that those 6 to 8 bolts and 6 bolts that are holding that aluminium plate on might be also holding like a drive shaft bearing on there as well. So failing that, we'll have to take the calipers off, take the entire hub off. That'll give us free access to that. I'm going to start on the other side. It's a bit easier to get to, and we'll see how easy it is to get these drive shafts out. So I've got this side stripped. You can see the drive shaft's free now. I have tried with this pry bar to get this shaft out, and the shaft will not move. The entire trike moves. It's like trying to slide off the ramp, but the drive shaft won't come out. So I'm going to undo these 6 bolts, see if I can take the carrier off. It's probably a bearing or something holding it in there. Okay, all the bolts are out. Hasn't made any difference. It is still very difficult to move. I'm not leaning against itself, I'm leaning against the frame, but it's definitely not budging. Okay, I finally got it out. It did come out with the aluminium casing. I had to use my big bar. There's my big snap-on bar. That was even bigger bar. Took some effort to get one of the guys to hold the trike from the other side so it didn't come off the ramp. But now we can see there's definitely some obvious damage there. So something's not right. Even this seal's destroyed. Look at the state of this seal. back of this, with all these metal shards coming off the edge here, off the lip. And if you look at the end, I don't know if you can see that, it's all these scrape marks. Even the even the seal here, half of this disappearing. So it's difficult to tell what's exactly happened. Just get my big pry bar again. Let's play in that, whatever that is. This rear part, I'm pretty sure it's not factory, because the factory ones are slightly different. And to be fair, to replace this belt, you're going to have to drop the rear diff out, because there's no split in the rear section and the front section where they've added the piece on. Normally on the Harleys you'll have some different type of bolts here where you can split the back and the front, and you can just about wedge the belt through. Yeah, this is definitely different. I don't know who's made it, and I'm pretty sure the shock absorbers are different on the genuine one. But to be fair, I've never had to split a genuine one this far, so I've never really looked that hard, to be fair. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Again, take the drive shaft out, and then we'll drop the centre out, and then we'll see what we're going to do, see what the plans are going to be. Okay, both shafts are out now. Just put a pry bar in just to hold that centre diff out so it didn't drop out. Not sure how it is going to come out, and not sure how I'm going to be able to adjust it to move over, because we've got these protruding ends that are flush with the outer edge of these plates, and it's similar on the other side. So there, so we can't even drop the diff and the final drive out. So I'm not 100% sure how they've put this thing together, because it looks like they've sandwiched it in between these two plates when they were assembling it. But unfortunately I can't drop the back out because we're resting on it. Some of these designers, they come up with this crap and there's nothing to assist you in serviceability. I mean, how on earth are you supposed to change the belt on these? Not sure what I'm going to do with it. I don't really want to strip any more off it, because by then we're going to have the whole rear end out. You can't even do a belt without doing this much stripping. It's absolutely unbelievable. You see the end? You can't see this side, but you can from the outside. Okay, it's going to be one of those coffee moments. Go, have a break, think about it, come back, reevaluate, and see if we can make this mishmash work. Okay, so I've got my portable vise here. I just stuck the drive shaft in there, spun the bearing up, and the bearing is so rough. Had another look in here. So the bearing sits on this edge and there's a massive lip on there. The bearing is spun up in this. It's worn away this aluminium shaft where the bearing sits in there, and this outer drive is dropped to one side, hence why it's scored all the way around. So this is damaged, it's beyond repair. Not sure what we're going to do with it, but I was planning on taking one of these side plates off so we could drop it down, but the plate's built on the inside of this, so I can't pull it away. I can only pull the entire unit out the back, so which means I need to support the entire trike. One of the guys put a hole up there to throw a strap around. We're not lifting the entire thing off, just the back, just taking the weight off the back, only by millimeters, so we can release the weight off the axle stands, and then we'll have to undo the entire rear unit, take it out, and then assess it on the floor. Okay, the customer has tried emailing the company that makes this rear axle, no reply. Eventually rings them up in America, not very helpful, actually not very helpful at all. Rings up another Trike company contacts the company that makes this. Eventually they get some instructions. Now these instructions, when it comes to instructions, you expect to see at least a couple of pictures. These are all verbal, so it's all typed up, so word after word. It's actually describing what to do. There's actually no pictures there apart from this one, which is just showing the bike from the back, which isn't really helpful. Starts off with a note. You should have at least average mechanical skills to do this. The instructions are for fitting this axle. We're going to skip that. There's install the belt. This is how it starts. Point 1. Remove the 1 3/4 hex bolt and strut located on the upper rear corner on the LT side of the IRS rear end. Remove one of the left rear lower 1/2 inch flathead socket screw. Remove the 1/2 inch flathead socket. Screw located on the left front sensor main. It's just describing it. What they're describing and what they see, it might not be what we see, so we're kind of on our own. It's catch-22 here. I cannot remove the rear axle because the belt's holding everything together. I can't take the rear diff out because the belt's holding it all together. From what I can gather looking at this is we're going to have to take the reverse starter, well, it's a starter motor with a flywheel, for driving the vehicle backwards on this particular starter motor. So we're going to have to try and drop that unit out the way. We might get some wiggle room just to try and get the belt off so that I can get the rear axle out and then split it on the floor, because the rear axle's got to come out. I can't get that diff out. Taking that starter mechanism out might give us some room to try and wiggle it, but I doubt very much. Where the rear drive the belt drive gear is damaged. Apparently it's not the same as a Harley Davidson one, although it looks very similar. Once we've got that out, we may have to stick it in a lathe, try and see if you can machine and clean that face up a little bit, but we'll manage that when we get there. So the starter motor is buried right in the center, so let's delve into that and see if we can get that out. It's going to be very difficult. It's very dark in there to try and do any video in. I will try. I'll stick the camera down there. If you pick something up that's worth sharing with you guys, I'll share it. Otherwise it'll be job done. Here's the starter. Okay, so we've got the ring there, it's like a flywheel ring, and the starter's buried down there. There we go, so you can just about see it. So this is the power lead that goes to the battery, so we have to disconnect the battery first. Or we could just disconnect it from this solenoid block, and so we don't short it out. But most of the bolts are all AF on this, so I've got to get my AF socket set out, and then hopefully we'll be able to get the starter out without too much grief. Okay, I've undone the couple of bolts that I could see. It's so difficult to see down there, but way down there in between the starter motor and the plate is actually another tube that locks that plate against this side, and I can't move it over, so undoing those bolts were futile. And there's absolutely no way getting this belt off, or even the diff out. I need to get this rear axle out. I've got no choice, and it looks like I'm going to have to undo the side casing here, clutch off, chain off, get this unit off here, gain access to the front sprocket, drop the belt off, get the rear axle out. What a crap design! It's absolutely shocking. So this Torque 70 bolt is really tight. I've got my newer gun now and I've borrowed Luke's bigger battery, see if we can undo it. I've tried and tried, that just will not go. I've got my inductor here, just going to try and put some heat onto it, see if we can free that up. Even this was really stiff on the splines. I had to use 2 pry bars to get this pulled off. They're not normally that stiff, but this one, a bit of a battle. Okay, I'm just going to screw this one back in, just to hold the plate in place, because we've got the starter motor on the back here. I can't get to the bottom screw to get it off, so I'm going to have to undo the wiring and take the plate off with the starter motor. Okay, battery wire's disconnected. Okay, this piece of plastic on the back end of the starter solenoid is catching this. I can see one screw here and the other one's bare around the back. I'll see if I can get an extension on it so I can unbolt this. Otherwise this isn't coming off. Okay, so I've managed to unbolt the starter motor. Let's see if I can gently tap it back. Okay, now we can see the bloody belt. So once it's off here, still have to get it past this frame belt, so you can just see that. Yeah, so once the belt's off, I still have to get it past this frame anchor bolt where it's holding the engine in, and then we should be able to get the rear axle out. I just hope they haven't looped anything else through it. Right, actually, I might be able to sweep this belt around this arm now without me having to take it off. I have to work around this caliper as well. Okay, I'm going to undo these bolts, bring the axle forward so I can loosen this belt off, take it off the front sprocket, and then make a plan for getting the rear off. So I need to get this nut off. I've just measured it, it's roughly 58 millimeters. I couldn't get a 58mm socket, so I've got a 60mm socket. 60mm was a bit loose on there, so I've had to cut some stainless steel sheets in there to make up the excess and welded them in there, as you can see that. Secondly, I've had to cut the top off it because we've got this shaft, so this fits in there quite well now. To get past this shaft, I'm going to have to stick on a tube which I've machined. That will sit in the recess which I machined out to get this out. This will weld on top of there, so now we've got our extension. That's an inch, which is not ideal, so I've got an inch reducer to 3/4. That will go on there, and then I've got a 3/4 reducer to 1/2 inch, so I can stick a gun on it. It's not the ideal tower, but that's the best I can do to get that nut off. Okay, I'm ready to road test this, get this nut off. Now this nut here was left hand thread. I'm not sure what this one is, but I've just seen on the side here it actually says right hand thread, so just undoes in a conventional way. Right, let's see if this works. And that would be a success. Customers bought a new belt for it, so we're going to be replacing that anyway. There's a gap here to get this belt through, so next thing to do now would be to undo these bolts and get the whole rear axle out. Need to move a few bits and pieces out of the way, undo a few links on the back. Okay, so I've got my forklift here. We've got that hole up there. We use that to lift the back of bikes up if you're doing rear suspension work. So I'm going to throw a ratchet strap through that hole. I'm going to lift the back up, get it off the axle stands, get the forklift legs under. I'm going to undo these 3/4 inch bolts, make sure nothing's attached to the rear axle. We've got this bolt broken here. I'm going to have to get that out, undo the one on the other side, undo the bolts on the other side, and get the axle out onto the forklift. Okay, so we're off the axle stands here. I've got that strapped up. I also put a jack underneath here as well, so we're not solely relying on just a strap. We've got something mechanical there. So we'll get these axle stands out of the way. So now we're clear under there to get the forklift's arms. Okay, it's out. What a job. Now to get this out, which is the bit we want to get out, is now I've got to split this in the middle because it's a sandwich. These are sandwich plates. Just having a look at this starter motor, seeing why I couldn't get it out. There's a bar here and a bar here and here. They got Allen key bolts on the ends. Looking at it now, I reckon if I'd undone the Allen key bolts, the three holding it together, because I did the sandwich bolts here but it didn't move. Even if I got the starter motor out, I still wouldn't have been able to get that diff out. So I'm going to get that out of the way anyway, so it's because it's part of the sandwich anyway, and then I'll just get one side off and get this this diff out. Right guys, I'm going to call it a day for part 2. This video is over 40 minutes already, and it's quite long. I don't want you guys to get bored. Most of my videos around 30 minutes or less. Anything beyond that, you know, it can be a bit much. So cutting it here, part 2 is going to be quite interesting. There's a lot to strip. Bits are already on their way from America, so we'll include the parts. Hopefully we'll encounter no more issues, but you never know. I wasn't expecting to do this much work. We've spent 5 or 6 hours on this already just to get this far. Yeah, we've got more stripping to do, parts to put on. Anyway, stick around for part 2. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. Take care guys.